a longtime activist, and she has fought for the freedoms of many people in Chapel Hill and around the country and around the world. I think it's really unfortunate that something like this happened in a place like Chapel Hill, where we as students expect that we can use our voices.
Tamara was arrested as she was saying, "I'm leaving," on a public sidewalk, trying to walk away to her car so that she could leave.
And so we're here today to try to amplify the voices of farm workers and to say that we will continue speaking for them. If it means unlawful arrest, we will stay here. And Tamara has been dedicated and will remain dedicated, and all of us will. And we just want to say that we cannot be intimidated.
Giving flyers out to people, talking about the abuses of the farm workers who pick the tomatoes for Burger King. At the end of the protest, more cop cars arrived just as 10 people were leaving. There was only about 10 people left. There was more cops than protesters at this point. They proceeded to harass us and tell us different things. Some of them told us to leave, some of them demanded our names. They isolated one of the women in our group in the middle of the parking lot with 8 police officers, male officers surrounding her and interrogating her. None of our group was allowed to join her and observe the questioning. We waited on the sidewalk because we didn't want to leave her by herself, and we asked for the officers' names. Officer Sheehan, which I didn't know his name till afterwards because he didn't tell me his name, instead of giving his name, said that in North Carolina they don't have badge numbers, and pointed to his badge when asked for his name and said, "NC, it says right there." So I took a picture of him afterwards so we could identify him. This officer then arrested Tamara Tall for failure to disperse as she was trying to gather us all to leave. So now we're here to stand up for our First Amendment rights, to stand up for justice for farm workers.
They had a National Day of Action last year, November 30th, and people around the country organized. We work with students here at UNC to go to a local Burger King and do a picket. You all know what happened. It's really a shame that here in Chapel Hill, students can't protest freely, that they can't exercise their First Amendment rights of free speech to be able to speak out in support of workers. So it's pretty shameful because this last couple of weeks we did another picket in Durham. We went to Durham because we can't do it here because we're afraid that students are going to get harassed again by the Chapel Hill PD. So we had to go to another town, and I think that's really shameful that free speech has been squelched in this way in Chapel Hill. So Student Action with Farm Workers is here in support of Tamara Tall. We want the charges dropped, and we think that free speech is a right not just in Durham, North Carolina, not just in the fields of Immokolee, Florida, but right here in Chapel Hill as well.
Tamara Tall should be found not guilty at today's trial, and the Chapel Hill Police Department should be condemned for their harassment of peaceful protesters.